grow up resilient, children need resilient parents. We know that children who have experienced trauma, grief, and loss need parents who are positive, consistent, and patient. Parents who can remain attuned, flexible, and calm. But being this kind of parent can be really hard.
I'm exhausted.
In this video, we explore parental resilience. We formulate a working definition, describe the kinds of parenting challenges you're likely to face, identify the building blocks of parental resilience, and share some essential strategies for self-care. We begin with a definition. In the physical world, resilience means elasticity, the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape. In the context of this video, resilience refers to a parent's ability to bounce back, your ability to withstand stress, frustration, even crisis, and keep showing up day in and day out. Parental resilience is all about flexibility and optimism in the face of adversity. We know from research that no one is born resilient. People become resilient. And in the case of parents who are fostering or adopting, there are certain behaviors, habits, and mindsets that help to develop resilience.
The children that we're taking care of are looking to us as a model and a guide for how they should overcome challenges in their own life. So when we have the ability to step back and take good care of ourselves and try again when things aren't going well, when things are hard with our kids and we're feeling down about ourselves, we still show up the next morning and we get up and we make breakfast and we send people off to school. And that's what resiliency is all about. And those are exactly the same qualities that we want to foster in our children.
Parenting can be immensely rewarding, but it also brings its share of stress, especially when the children in your care have a history of trauma, grief, and loss. Consider the impact of childhood adversity on a child's worldview.
Children who've had adversity can be challenging because they may not trust, they may have the wrong idea about how families work, they may be more cautious or more apt to think that the world is a threatening place and overreact even to normal situations as if they're threatening.
Our kids often feel unsafe in a situation that makes me feel fun, like a birthday party. That sounds fun, but our kids find that really scary.
The skills that help children survive abuse and neglect often show up as behaviors that can feel overwhelming to parents who are fostering or adopting. Adoptive parents Jonathan and Allison Douglas witnessed some of these behaviors firsthand when their children first moved in.
Tantrums and meltdowns that last for hours really test your stamina as a parent, as a human being. I think that it really tests your stamina. When kids are afraid of you and constantly hide or flinch, and you just wanted to give them a hug. When children are invading the refrigerator in the middle of the night to eat everything that they can and then vomiting because they're so afraid of being hungry.
When you bring a child that has been raised in a traumatic environment into a loving, calm, safe environment, guess what they're going to do? They're going to create the chaos all over again. It's how the brain works.
A lot of these kids, they're so hard at times that they can wear you out.
Any family can be overwhelmed.
When a family is overwhelmed, that family needs support. But neighbors, teachers, and others in the community may not grasp the complexity of the children's needs. Even close friends and family may not understand, especially if the children's needs aren't obvious.
When you see our children, they look like perfectly healthy, typical kids.
I found one with me in it, with everybody.
And so it's been challenging for some of our extended family to really understand how we parent, why we do some of the things that we do. A picture of you from school. Oh, this is a really old one. This is preschool. Teachers will look at our children and see a healthy kiddo, but they can't see the cracks in the development of our children.
Adoptive parents Andrew and Karen Beatty are raising 6 children whose complex needs are challenging, but not always obvious.
I think that's one of the struggles that we have with kids who come from that trauma background is that they can look normal. And so we oftentimes talk about that they have hidden disabilities. If they had Down syndrome or if they were missing an arm or a leg, people then would see that. But again,
way more understanding.
Yeah.
What do you want for breakfast? And the school doesn't understand why there's problems at home, or why won't he do his homework? Man, he held it together at school. This is awesome that he held it together at school, but he screamed for 4 hours last night, and homework was the least of my worries. And so even other professionals don't see the need.
There is no magic formula to heal the trauma. It takes consistency and patience, day after day, no matter what. And that takes resilience.
If you're exhausted, if you're tired, if you're worn down, your ability to sort of demonstrate resilience is going to be frayed. And these kids can fray even the most resilient person.
Think of resilience as a resource, like a glass of water on a hot day. Some people start the day with a full glass, but if you're stressed or overwhelmed or exhausted, you could be starting the day with half a glass of water, maybe even less. Later, when you need that water to get you through the day, your glass is drained. That cup of resilience needs to be refilled.
And we have to be able to say, I need support, I need help, or I need a break, right? It's so important to keep that in mind, because if our buckets are empty, there's nothing to give.
Resilience isn't something we're born with. It's a trait we develop over time. Factors such as personality, temperament, and environment all play a part in how well we rebound when things go wrong. But anyone can become more resilient with practice. Imagine there are 4 building blocks of parental resilience. Think of them as protective factors that we can call upon in challenging times. The first building block is a sense of belonging and connectedness, the knowledge that you are not alone.
I think it's important to not be isolated. You have to be surrounded with people who love you unconditionally and who really, really will support you.
This isn't something that we do alone. It's not something that we do even just within a family. We need a community around us. We need our children and our whole family to be interacting in a wider community where they're receiving support, where they're interacting with other families that look like them. And, our job is to really focus and curate a support group that's meeting the needs that we have.
Sometimes a sense of belonging and support comes from friends and family, but that doesn't always happen.
I was young, I was 23, and my friends all kind of left me. They were like, no, you're on your own, who wants to do this at 23? And well, I did, and so did my husband. So we had to build a network of friends.
For many reasons, you may have to change relationships with family and friends, your support network. They may have to change.
But you are going to need a network of people to assist. So whether that's your church group or your ladies group or just your general friend circle, having that level of support is necessary.
Most of the people that we hang out with now are foster or adoptive parents and people who are doing really the same work that we do.
What we've found is that the most successful parents are the ones that get connected with an adoptive and foster parent community, and that's kind of a crucial element to help them kind of understand some of the nuances of parenting kids with a trauma history. I've seen parents cry when they first come to a support group because they feel like they found their people.
To be in that room and to be sharing with other foster parents, other adoptive parents, you walk away going, okay, yeah, maybe I can do this a little while longer. Okay, there's some hope here. I get something to hang on to. But then there's also the practical side of it, the tangible side of, oh, that worked for you? Okay, what's that phone number? Give that to me now.
Keep a lot of people in your life. It helps keep you sane.
I always go back to that supportive network. The in-person support group that I go to, the online support group that I go to, any like parent cafes where I have opportunities to talk to other parents are really healing for me. I always leave with a full cup.
The next building block is self-efficacy. Efficacy is another word for effectiveness. In medicine, it refers to the ability of a treatment or intervention to achieve the desired result. In parenting, self-efficacy refers to the sense that you're doing an important job, that you are willing to learn and grow, that even though change is slow, you are making a difference.
You know, I realized when they came to me with the clothes on their backs that they'd lost all their stuff. It didn't really dawn on me they'd lost all of those relationships.
The first concept is there is no perfect parent, ever. And you have to give yourself grace. This is a learning curve. This is a curve of learning self-acceptance, self-love.
Help! No, not you, not you, not you. Not me. Not Daddy either.
Your child is not going to validate you and say, thank you so much for taking me in. I appreciate all the sacrifices you've made. I love you so much. So you have to validate yourself and say, you know what? I am a good parent. I'm doing what I was called to do. I'm doing and making the commitment. I'm following through.
I think part of being a resource parent is being okay with and confident about what you're doing, even if it doesn't always work the first, second, or 10th, or 50th time around.
A sense of self-efficacy can build your confidence. When you believe in what you're doing, you're less concerned about other people's opinions.
Kind of channeling and hearing what other people are saying and nodding and saying, oh, I'm glad that that worked for you. Maybe I'll try that, you know, and kind of moving on and doing your own thing. Very, very hard though.
Because you want your family to think you're doing a great job. You want your family to understand, but that can be really hard. And so a lot of times we've had to agree that they don't have to get it and that our kids are our kids and we know what's best for them, and that we just have to say, you don't get to pick the way we discipline, or you may not discipline our children.
The third building block of parental resilience, a sense of identity, is closely related to self-efficacy. When you know who you are and what you can achieve, you know that you'll find a way to succeed.
We laugh about it, you know, there are a lot of moms who are soccer moms, or, you know, they do those kind of things, and Karen's a therapy mom. You know, at points in time, she's averaged upwards of 25 doctor and therapy visits a week. You know, most people have a pediatrician that they visit every year or so for their kids for an annual checkup. Well, we don't have just a pediatrician. We have a pediatric psychiatrist, a pediatric neurologist, a pediatric geneticist, a pediatric urologist, and about anything else that you could imagine.
Children who are hurting may lash out at their caregivers. It takes a strong sense of identity to tolerate rejection.
I had a daughter who told me one time, you know, I will never love you. I hate moms. And my response was, that's okay with me. If you never love me, I still get an A+ in mothering. I'm good with it. and I really just have to not take any of that personally and be non-reactive and just send messages of positive acceptance. Is that easy? It's not easy. I'm not telling you it's easy. It means I have to do things like find ways to fill up my own love tank in other places.
Much like self-efficacy, a strong sense of identity helps parents tolerate criticism and judgment from others.
That they feel confident that they're doing what is the best for that child at that time. That they don't see the child's behaviors as a reflection upon themselves and their parenting skills.
The last building block of parental resilience is self-regulation, your ability to manage your thoughts, emotions, and reactions during times of stress. Self-regulation is crucial because it means that the parent can stay calm even when the child is upset.
There's one fundamental truth that we need to talk about today, and that is that somebody who's dysregulated, worked up, can't regulate somebody else.
If you want your child to be regulated so that you can actually reason with them, you have to be regulated. And that is one of the hardest things to do. Easy to say, hard to do. And it is literally the secret to effective parenting teaching, therapy, coaching, any interaction between human beings is all related to regulation.
My job is to keep this from spinning out of control. So just because she's spinning doesn't mean I get to spin with her.
You may find it helpful to make a list of strategies for self-regulation that work for you. Most people find that a few deep breaths can make a difference.
So if you do patterned, repetitive, regulatory breathing, inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, you do that 5 times, you're calm.
With a sense of belonging and connection, self-efficacy, the feeling that you are making a difference for a child, a strong sense of identity and purpose, and the skills to stay self-regulated, you have the building blocks you need to be the resilient parent you want to be. But if you're overwhelmed, sleep-deprived, stressed out, or even sick, your resilience is compromised, and you can't take care of the children who need you. Just as we're told on an airplane to secure our own oxygen mask before assisting others, we have to secure our own well-being, physical, emotional, and spiritual, before we can attend effectively to the well-being of others. If you're a parent who is fostering or adopting, you will need a strategy for self-care.
Self-care is absolutely number one. How you feel is going to determine how your family operates.
If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to have the emotional resources to do the hard work.
Remember our glass of water? To be a resilient parent, your cup of resilience has to stay filled so you can draw from it when you need to. Think of self-care as a 3-step process. Step 1. Assess on a regular basis how full or empty your cup is. Watch for signs that your cup of resilience is getting low.
I find that I sort of ride this wave of where I'm doing really, really well with taking care of myself, but then life gets too messy or complicated, or there's 3 more appointments added to the schedule, and then I get kind of low, and I notice when I'm too overwhelmed, when I'm too stressed, when I start raising my voice with the children all day long, that like, oh, wait a minute, this is not about the kids. This is, I have not had a moment of silence in 3 weeks.
Maybe I have become irritable. Maybe I've become depressed. Maybe I've become angry. Maybe I am pulling away from family and friends.
So just being mindful about self-care is really important to me.
Step 2. Plan to take care of yourself just like you plan for everything else in your busy life.
What do we mean by taking care of yourself? And we mean basic things like making sure that you're sleeping, eating, exercising, but also things you enjoy doing, that you don't lose sight of those, because it can be all-consuming.
Your self-care plan does not need to be complicated or time-consuming. It shouldn't add stress to your life or further deplete your cup of resilience. Instead, taking care of yourself should involve activities that energize you and bring you joy. Which brings us to step 3, the step that is the hardest one for most parents. Put your self-care plan into action. It's okay to start small, but do something every day.
And it might only be 5 minutes, might only be 10 minutes, but you separate the time that you need for yourself.
It might be a bubble bath or a pedicure, or making sure that I get my quiet time in the morning in my rocking chair, in my closet, which really fuels me for the whole day.
One thing about self-care that I have to say is it has to be scheduled for me. Because I live in a hamster wheel, I'm always on the go, and self-care gets put on the side. I need to make sure that my schedule is good for self-care.
And not feeling guilty about it can be a big thing too, because I could think of 50 things I could do to fill up an hour, but sometimes what I need to do is just take a nap or read or listen to music, because if I don't, I won't have what I need to give to the kids. I mean, it really is family care to take care of yourself as a parent. It is family care.
Those are the steps. Assess how full your cup is. Create a plan for self-care. Put your self-care plan into action. It sounds simple, but it can be hard to prioritize self-care when there are so many other demands on your time and energy. Still, if you take care of your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, you will be a more resilient parent. A parent who is better equipped to take care of the children who need you. There are many ways to fill and refill your cup of resilience. we asked parents and professionals across the country to reflect on their favorite ways to fill their cups.
Some people like dance, and some people like music, some people like calligraphy, some people like knitting.
I will escape out to my workshop and do a woodworking project or something like this, and that's my meditation.
I like to work in the yard, go in the backyard, cut the grass, trim the hedges.
I have someone clean my house every 2 weeks, and I finally have gotten used to that's okay to have that kind of help. I go get my nails done every 2 weeks.
Going to the gym and taking care of myself.
Talking with my foster girlfriends.
Listening to classical music.
A quick walk around the block.
A parents' night out where, 2 hours to be able to leave the kids with the professionals is an amazing thing.
I'll just go in my room and maybe turn the TV on, or I'll get my phone and I'll play one level of Candy Crush or something.
Or just taking a ride, by myself, for example, just to kind of clear your mind up.
Pursue an artistic avenue that really gets to your heart.
I go to plays, I go to theater, I go to movies.
And then prayer. Prayer really is essential.
It takes a lot of prayer. And then my stress buster is I try to, do some exercise or take a walk. I love walking.
It's not always fun and easy to parent children who have been hurt. They will often hurt you in an attempt to say, help. I need something that I'm not getting right now. Don't give up. Yeah. Ask for help. Ask for help for yourself. Ask for help on behalf of your child.
The stronger you can be, the more loving you can be towards yourself and validate yourself, you're going to be giving the model to that child that says, you can be okay. You are okay.
Even if it's not always perfect, and I know we used to say that we lived in controlled chaos, and some days we're not sure about the control now anymore.
That's true.
But yet we know that we're making a massive difference in their life.